Your reference group. Hello, my name is Gary Axamit. I coach founders and investors on business plan ideation and execution in this 21st century of Black Swan events. These are only my opinions, so take it for what it's worth. If you like what you see here, follow me on TikTok and YouTube, and there's a lot more content there. So, reference group. And I have said here, for probably 2 hours, working this one through my head, because this one is really, really hard for me. This one's really, really, really painful for me. The people you surround yourself with says so much, both overtly as well as subtly. It says a lot to the people who are meeting you for the first time when they see who you congregate with, who you're married to. It says a lot to other people about how you feel about yourself, whether you have any respect for yourself. So to shift gears just slightly on this, diet is more than just what you put in your mouth. Diet is what you put in your ears and your eyes. Diet is the things that you hear that are fed to you from the people around you, the validation, the affirmation. We get stuck in biases. We like to hang around with people that share our same sensibilities. But you really have to step back at some point in your life. Look, I'm a loyal person. And this one's really hard for me. And I'm sorry, I'm going to probably get freaking emotional and embarrass myself. I like people. I genuinely like people. But about 6-7 years ago, well, to go back. So, a long time ago, more than a decade ago, I had a meeting between a Wall Street investment banking group and my board of a company that I was involved in at that time. And I remember one of the representatives from the Wall Street group hung back in the back of the room, and I watched him, and he was surveying and summing up everybody on my side of the table by what they wore, their shoes. I could see him. He was checking everybody out from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. And I remember thinking to myself, he thinks we're a bunch of rubes. He thinks we're a bunch of dumbasses. And, it didn't take very long for that to start to bubble to the surface. And it put me in a really difficult situation. Because I'm a loyal person, and I'm not a fake person, and I'm not a shallow person, I really had to sit there and look at my situation and say, I'm being judged. My hard work, their hard work, the hard work of the employees at the company was all being judged based upon how we appeared. It goes back to sensory and intuitive people and blah, 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 and I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time on that, but we'll talk about that later. So there was a lot of years, there was 10 or 20 years in my life where I spent a lot of time living with one foot in the future and 1 foot in the past. And I wore it kind of like a badge of honor. I was really proud of it. And I didn't realize that I was messing up my head. Because there came a point, to jump forward from the meeting that I'm talking about, there came a point about 5-6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, when I finally, the previous, events of my life and all of these things just kind of came right up and bit me in the ass. And, there was a fateful moment back in March of 2018 when just in a moment's, just boom, like that, something someone said changed the course of my life. It forced me to go down some deep introspective soul searching, and I looked at my reference group. I looked at the people around me, and I've heard it said that if your reference group doesn't inspire you, you don't have a reference group. You have a prison. I looked at everything that I'd accomplished with my life. My life has been amazing. I'm truly just I have nothing to complain about in my life, truly. I've seen so much, I've done so much, I've enjoyed so many amazing accomplishments. And I looked at myself, and I looked at the people around me, and I looked at myself again, and I said to myself, man, imagine what you could accomplish if you got rid of the dead weight that you're dragging around. And that was really, really, really hard for me. You can't change the people around you, but you can change yourself. And for me, there was just so many existential events happening in 2016, 17, 18, both professionally and personally, and my health was declining, and I was just really overwhelmed, and I said, this world just got frickin' scary. Seriously frickin' scary. And this is truly just a fight or flight moment. And most people are still stuck in a manic mindset. They haven't shifted to the fight or flight. They haven't really had that come to Jesus reckoning inside of themselves that I did 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I miss my role models. And, but out of the events of that come to Jesus with myself, I realized that I didn't need role models anymore. I was my own role model from that point forward. And it was really hard for me to look at the people that I had elevated to some role model status in my life and realize that the only reason why I thought they were role models was because I admired them and I loved them. And I lost 3 people's. I lost admiration and love for 3 people in my life in a matter of just a few hours, in one fateful moment in the spring of 2018 that changed everything for me. And when you no longer love somebody, you look at them objectively. And when you see somebody for who they really are, it can be kind of humbling. And that's, I don't know. Like I said, this post for me has been one of the hardest ones that I've done. I've been incredibly successful. I mean, you just can't even understand how humbled I am by the things that have come into my life in 55 years of being on this earth. Every moment of my life I've been blessed. My best friend used to tell me when we were in high school, he'd say, you're the luckiest person I've ever met in my life. And I have been. But I was surrounded by some really unlucky people. I was surrounded by some really unhappy people. I was surrounded by some people who were just really stuck in survival mode. And the world's moving too fast. The world is just moving too fast to be surrounded by people that aren't going anywhere. And it just, my advice is be your own role model. I mean that. Be your own role model. Look up to yourself. look at yourself in the mirror and learn to say, dude, I freaking love you, man. You're great. And I know that sounds cliche and corny and silly, but it's really, truly important to be able to look at yourself and go, you're freaking great. You're awesome, dude. You did all this shit. You're good. You did, that was an interesting thing that happened to me. I'm sorry to get off the beaten path here, but, I got sick back in 2018. And there was a moment in time in there where, I didn't know. I didn't know if I was going to go on. I didn't know. I didn't know if I just wanted to lay down and die. I was in a really, really dark place. And I had to make up my mind that I wanted to live. And I remember at one point in there where I looked at myself and I said, I'm good. If I were to leave this earth, I've accomplished a lot of great things, and I've got no unpaid IOUs to this planet. I've done my part. I've contributed. I've given back more than I took. And out of that came pride. And out of that came also, I realized I didn't need a reference group anymore. I'm good. I'll do it myself. And that's that's also one of the hard parts for me going forward in life. I have made, invested, spent, lost, made back, invested, I don't know how many millions. I mean, this has been really an amazing journey with a lot of good and a lot of ups and a lot of downs and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what I've learned from all that is that I'm going to do it by myself. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to build things that I can run myself off of a laptop. That's why I'm doing this podcast. This for me, hopefully at some point in time, is part of income. But I'm going to do it by myself. I'm not going to do it with a group of people. I don't need a reference group. I don't need people to validate me. I don't need people to stroke my ego. So I'm sorry if this one went on long, and I feel kind of stupid about even publishing it in a lot of ways. But look, don't find yourself in a situation like me where you look at your role models and realize that your role models are lies. They're not role models. They're not even good people. They're frauds, and that includes even people that you share your house and your bed with. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but I'm just trying to offer you some advice and, choke up on the bat. Start working on some of this now so it doesn't bite you in the ass. Because that world out there, that world is coming fast. And you don't have time to drag a bunch of dead weight around with you.